Tell me when we're hot and we're good to go. All right. I'd like to call to order the April 27, 2022 Long Hill Township Committee meeting. Madam Clerk, can you take the roll, please?
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting, specifically the time, date, and public call and information, were electronically sent to the Echo Set and all and posted on the Township website. The agenda and public handouts can be viewed online at www.longhillnj.gov. Public comment period will be held in the order it is listed on the meeting agenda. Committeeman Lavender?
Present.
Committeeman Ray?
Present.
Mayor Dorsey?
Here. All right, all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so we'll do the Arbor Day Proclamation. We have a presentation. I'll take a couple minutes. Luckily, we have Mrs. Jeans here from the Shade Tree Commission. We have a proclamation. It says, Arbor Day was established in 1872 in Nebraska. The first Arbor Day, they planted more than 1 million trees in the state that time in Nebraska. Our Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and trees can be a solution to combating climate change by reducing the erosion of topsoil by wind and water, cutting heat and cooling costs, moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing, obviously, oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. Trees are a renewable source, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. Trees in our town increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of the business areas, and beautify our community. Trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Therefore, we are officially declaring that Friday, April 29, 2022, be celebrated as Arbor Day in Long Hill Township. So, Mrs. Jeans, you want to come up and accept the plaque? I'll come out to you.
Thank you.
So, just Mrs. Jeans, and by the way, through her efforts, along with Guy Persicha, I think it was last year, now we are at Tree Town USA, correct?
Absolutely, again.
Thank you.
Twice.
So, good job, Mrs. Jeans. Thank you.
Can I get a picture?
Oh, she doesn't want to
Sure.
take a picture with me, does she?
Absolutely. Since you're a little boy.
Let's see the proclamation.
Yeah, we don't. There you go.
Whoa.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Thank you, Meg. All right. Thank you, Ms. Jeans. All right, next topic, we have a presentation from the Energy Remote Net Metering with Vicki Malloy and Lisa Hibbs. So, ladies, the floor will be yours.
Do you guys want to come down
Yeah,
here?
we'll come down. Yeah.
That mic is on for you, I think. Oh, it is. Okay, yes, that mic is on.
This will be projected like television. You can see this, right, Megan?
Correct.
Okay.
No, it's off.
Huh?
It's not lined up right.
Well, I think it's warming up, and I think the lights are on, so it's a little off.
No, I'm saying you can't see the whole thing. Yeah,
Well, you think we should raise the projector up?
Or back it up.
Yeah,
Oh, that's true.
A little bit better?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Thank you.
Is that good? Back it up a little bit?
According to the producer, yes.
This way, just
Okay, stop. That's perfect.
There you go. Well, the only reason why we had it perfect this afternoon, I
did.
promise. My only fear is it's gonna cut off on what's on the bottom, but I'll stick it.
No, I think.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead. Oh, you like talking to the microphone?
Oh.
So I can hear you on it.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Vicki Malloy. You want to take it off? Oh, I can take it off? Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Vicki Malloy, and I'm here with my associate, Lisa Hibbs. And we're here today to present an opportunity for the Township of Long Hill to participate in remote net metering, which is a renewable energy cost-saving opportunity provided on behalf of the Phoebus Fund. Next slide. Oops. Okay. All right. So what is remote net metering? It was authorized in New Jersey by the Board of Public Utilities as part of the Clean Energy Act in 2018. It is also known as a virtual net metering in other states, whereby a renewable energy project produces electric energy at one location, and the power can be allocated to another location within the same utility service territory. So this is remote net metering summary. This is basically all the administrative code and information regarding the background of remote net metering that was issued by the Board of Public Utility back in 2018. And it is for the exclusive use of public entities only in the state of New Jersey. So this is not available to private companies, only available to public entities. And it's a way to achieve the clean energy goals of obtaining 100% renewable energy in the state of New Jersey. And those goals need to be reached by 2050 per the Energy Master Plan. We have some pretty high goals. We want to reach 50% by 2030. The legislative objectives also are there too, by enacting remote net metering to meet its goals. And it's basically to help public entities that have space constrained or poor undesirable land or property that can't host renewable energy projects, and also too the ability to host renewable energy projects on underutilized land such as landfills, and to provide clean energy and savings to the public as part of the objective. Next slide. So the benefits to New Jersey and public entities. The biggest benefit with the Phoebus remote net metering project opportunity that we're presenting here today is the cost savings associated with 100% renewable energy that will be produced in New Jersey. This project will also create good paying jobs, benefit farmers, and assist the state in achieving its clean energy goals much sooner than they are required. Next slide. And I'm not reading the slides slide by slide. You guys have the handout, so there's more additional information, more detail, and we're also here to answer any questions at the end. So this is a representation of virtual net metering or remote net metering, just so that everybody can try to understand it. The solar project will be an agrivoltaic solar farm. It'll be located in Lepatcong, New Jersey. Per the remote net metering regulations, there has to be a host entity. Phillipsburg is the host entity for this particular project. The solar power is generated and it'll be sent to JCP&L. JCP&L will then send the power to everybody who signs up to receive the power, and each of those public entities will receive a credit for that power that's received. And I'll go into a little bit more about that credit in some of the later slides. And then the agrivoltaic solar farm they'll send an invoice to the Township of Long Hill for the actual power that was credited by JCP&L. So the benefits to Long Hill. As I said, the current opportunity, it's going to be an agrivoltaic solar farm located in Lepatcong. It's going to be 80 megawatts of solar power. About 96 million kilowatt hours annually are projected to be produced. And Phillipsburg is the host entity for the project. The project will not be located on Long Hill's property, and it will not impact your property values. Whether or not Long Hill participates, the energy is going to be sent to the grid, and JCP&L is going to get it. So you guys have an opportunity here to participate in the remote net metering that's being offered. JCP&L is the utility. It's still responsible for the delivery of electricity to your accounts. JCP&L, per the remote net metering laws and the tariff, will provide a credit for the electricity power from the solar farm that the solar farm produces and is allocated to your accounts. The owner, Phoebus, maintains the systems and the infrastructure. You own nothing. You have zero risk. Long Hill will only receive the credits for the 100% clean renewable energy power from JCP&L, which is being produced in New Jersey. A lot of people ask, what happens if the system breaks or fails? You know, what happens to that? JCP&L is your provider of last resort. They're the utility service provider. They are responsible for delivering 100% of your power needs at any time. If the solar goes offline, you know, hopefully that will be remedied. If it goes offline for more than a month, then there's termination clauses that will be available in the contract that you guys can basically get out of if it's not working. So these are the utility cost savings analysis that we put together based on Long Hill's electric accounts with JCP&L. And we pulled the total historical kilowatt consumption, which is close to almost 1 million kilowatt hours annually. We estimated the credit value from JCP&L based on the current tariff rates that are available. The power purchase agreement rate for the agrivoltaic solar farm would be 6 cents. That would include a 1% escalator too, as well, over the life of the term, which would be 20 years. The estimated annual savings is $56,000 and change. And over the term of the contract, it's over $1 million. We were pretty conservative in our calculations, and I'll go over that in one of the other slides and kind of review that with you. Next slide. So by participating in the solar project through remote net metering, there's a power purchase agreement that would need to be executed by the township. And they also call it a PPA. Just everything in the energy industry is acronyms. But so it would be a fixed known electricity rate for 20 years and includes a 1% annual escalator. All the development costs or risk are borne by the developer. There's no risk to Long Hill. The PPA payments will be due only for the power that Long Hill receives. There's no additional payments or fixed payments in addition to whatever the power is that you receive from the solar farm that's delivered by JCP&L. You'll receive 100% clean renewable electricity, conform to the Clean Energy Program and Energy Master Plan requirements sooner than later, and support high-paying local jobs and protecting New Jersey farms. Phoebus will require $3. That's the only thing that basically has to come out of the pocket for Long Hill Township, and that's for consideration of the contracts, the offer acceptance, and the consideration. There's no obligations until the system starts producing power, and you only pay for the power that's being produced. So this is the power purchase cost analysis that we put together starting in 2023 at a PPA rate of 6 cents per kilowatt hour with a 1% escalator, and that's the third column to the right. Assuming that the contract would expire in 2042, the highest rate that Long Hill would pay is 0.07248 cents. The estimated credit from JCP&L, we took the current tariff and the current BGS supply rate, because that's what you're going to be credited. It's at 11.118 cents. And then what we did was we added a 1% escalator every 5 years to that cost. As we know, energy costs are starting to go up. They're continuing to go up, but we're being very conservative in our modeling. And it looks like the savings is anywhere between 35 to 45% versus what you're currently paying. So these are the environmental and municipal benefits. And I'm not going to read them all, but there are some environmental benefits that would be associated to Long Hill if you decide to participate. And next steps, we have a couple of municipalities that have been working with the Canning Group. Sean Canning has vetted this and has prepared a resolution that we can share with you regarding, how to proceed and participate in the remote net metering project. And then you would just have to authorize and execute the documents. Next slide. And then I'm going to open it up for questions.
No, so make sure you want to miss your seat.
Yeah, thanks.
Megan, do we need to wait for you or we're good to go? You're good to go. Oh, I just have, well, two quick questions. First one is, when do you anticipate this solar farm is going to be up and running?
So currently, right now, it's in BPU approval, and once we get the final approval with BPU, they're anticipating anywhere between 6 to 8 months.
Oh, that's
for
fast.
construction. Yeah. So
All right.
we should be looking at this probably fourth quarter of 2023.
Now, my next question is, I think I asked you as we spoke earlier, is that obviously you're projecting into the future, and I know the cost only going to go up, but you right now, or say 2023, the JCP&L regular rate's about 11 cents. Historically speaking, like say in the last 5 years, you generally know what the JCP&L rate is?
So the credit that's offered for remote net metering that's on the tariff for JCP&L includes 100% of the BGS supply rate, and it also includes all of the KWH components of the distribution rate. So it doesn't include the customer service charge, and it doesn't include the societal benefits charge. The societal benefits charge basically goes to fund the clean energy programs that provide rebates for energy efficiency and so forth. So those are the components that are not included. I can tell you that over the last probably 10 years, that supply rate has been the one that's been the most up and down. It started back in 2010. It was over 11 cents. It's gone as low as 8 cents over the last 3 to 4 years, and it's creeping up now to 10 cents again.
So in the last, I say 5 to 6 years, the lowest it's been is about 8 cents per hour?
Correct. And that doesn't include the distribution rate, which on average, that credit is about 2 cents a kilowatt hour. So on top of the BGS supply rate, you'll get another 2 cents through the
So
distribution.
Even now, even today, if we said we're paying 6% now, it's still a lot cheaper than anything JCP&L's offered in 5 to 10 years.
Absolutely. I mean, we've gone out and we've procured 100% renewable energy for the County of Bergen and all of their co-op members. And the premium associated with, getting 100% renewable energy is anywhere from 2 to 3 pennies on top of the current price to compare. So for JCP&L right now, you're probably looking at about 12 cents.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead, guys.
So I'm just doing the math here. So, and just dealing with 2023. So JCP&L 11 cents a kilowatt, right?
Yes.
And if I calculate that out, 972,822, that's our kilowatts consumption?
Yes.
Okay.
That was your historical consumption on the usage
Okay.
that we pulled.
So that'd be about $115,000 under JCP&L rates. Under the 6% rate, it's $58,000, so I get it, $56,000 savings. Now, let's talk about the billing month to month on this.
Yep.
Assuming that the service is running at 100% capacity, we're getting the 6% rate. If it's running at less than that, are we paying that 6% on the portion that's going through here, and the rest is charged at the JCP&L rate?
That's correct.
Okay, so, and there's some sort of an accounting month to month, what that percentage is?
Correct. Yes, we're going to try to get it to 100%. You know, it could be at times where maybe you use a little bit less than what the allocation is, so it's constantly balancing that capacity allocation on a monthly basis.
Okay, so the play here is really locking in the opportunity for a rate that's cheaper than even the historical low rate of JCP&L.
Correct.
Okay, and what you're looking for is a 20-year commitment.
That's correct.
Okay.
I only have one question, and it kind of goes to what you said. You know, what happens if it goes down, right? So if for some reason it was to stop functioning, the only thing that would happen to us is our rate would go back up to the JCP&L rate, that 11 cents, whatever that prevailing rate. There's no, there's no kind of penalty, right?
Correct.
The JCP&L. So it literally is, you know, by the side, zero risk. At
Correct.
this point.
Yeah, I mean, if the system, you know, went down, let's just say a panel broke on the system, I mean, it was very insignificant. I don't think that you guys would be affected at all. If the entire system went down, of course, you know, you just wouldn't get the credits for that time period that's been affected.
But the only thing we would go back to the prevailing rate that we
That's
would be paying
correct.
anyway. So there's no additional penalty for us.
That's right.
Would we ever have to pay more than JCP&L rate?
So your rate would be fixed for the entire term at the 1% escalator. So based on the analysis of where JCP&L's rate has historically been, I started selling electricity back in the early 2000s when we first became deregulated. We haven't had 6-cent power since probably 2004.
What protection would we have from JCP&L putting a surcharge on customers of this?
So that's a really good question. The program is codified by a law that's written by the Board of Public Utilities. JCP&L would have to go before the Board of Public Utilities and, you know, basically put through a request for an additional surcharge, which probably BPU would not approve.
So they just can't do it without getting the DPW?
Absolutely not.
What if the rates, I mean, say we locked in at 6% with the 1% escalator. What if the rates fall, obviously if the technology gets better, say if they fall to 4 cents an hour, then we still stuck at 6?
That's correct.
All right.
So are there other towns that have entered into a similar kind of agreement, and they've been doing it for a length of time?
So remote net metering is fairly new.
Okay.
It was enacted in 2018. Phillipsburg, there are some other government entities that are doing remote net metering within the state. They just started. It hasn't really, you know, had a far reach at all. We are talking to a lot of towns that are very interested in this opportunity, and we've gotten some commitments moving forward. Actually, New Jersey Transit is very, very interested in this.
Is it available to like schools too, or just the?
Yes,
Okay, so like the Board of Ed wanted to do it, they could do it as well?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's no confusion, this is for municipal properties and the schools,
So it's all public entities, so it could be state, county, and local.
but not residents.
It's not available to residents right now.
Okay.
I felt it was important.
We would love it to be available to residents. Unfortunately, it's not.
Any other questions? Go
And-
ahead.
No, I mean, just a few entities that are kind of involved in it. We can talk to them. It's not, you can provide us contact information for them, just
Sure.
to talk to them. So, yeah.
And when-
Absolutely.
Just as part of the due diligence.
Yeah, all of that information is, you know, it's on the Clean Energy website, so they're all on there. So it's public knowledge.
No, it's just a matter of, being able to talk to somebody and just,
Sure.
if we do move forward, we could talk to them about how did you work out this or that or the next thing, and so it's, you know, it's just part of the diligence.
Absolutely.
And you
Yeah.
could, if needed, you can give us a sample of the proclamation, whatever the sample, not a contract, but proposal would be.
Yes, I would give you all of that if you're interested in the next steps in reviewing that.
All right.
I think the other thing that would be interesting would to see your capital plan over the next 20 years so we can understand what, you know, if this is going to be oversubscribed, let's say. That if we got to year 18, would it satisfy 100% of our power requirements?
So 80 megawatts is what the farm will be, the agrivoltaic farm will be. You guys, in solar language, you guys are using close to 1 megawatt, okay? So for the 80 megawatts, and we have Phillipsburg, which is using close to 5 megawatts. So they can't oversubscribe it, JCP&L won't let them. So, yeah,
So there's a cap.
nor would the
like, say-
BPU.
So if like 70 towns want to do this, there's a cap on whatever that one can produce.
That's correct. But let's just say, like, in the future, you guys are growing. You add electric vehicle charging stations, maybe you add another facility. We can always look to see if there is available capacity on an existing facility that you would be able to connect with, or there might be a new facility that's being built that can host those accounts.
Okay, so is part of this contract sort of like an upper limit as to what we can contract for?
So you do have, JCP&L will look at your total accounts and they'll look at your historical usage. So there will be that. If you do add additional accounts, saying that there is capacity on the system, we could potentially add them in the future. But every year you're going to be balancing out that load information. So let's just say that you put energy efficiency equipment in and you reduce your load by 20%, or you decide to put solar on your facility, which actually reduces your load. That's okay too, because we can rebalance it with newer clients that are adding accounts, or you may want to add some accounts as well. So that will get rebalanced once a year.
Okay, and then
Okay.
contractually, is there minimums that we have to purchase?
No.
Okay.
No minimums. And if the system's not producing, you're not contractually obligated.
Meaning that they're not producing enough energy for everybody.
That's right.
Okay. Any other questions? Go ahead.
In regard to the facilities that you're actually building, you might not be able to answer this, but what are the requirements? Like, what does the town need in order to host one of these facilities, one of these farms?
So, actually, they're actually contracting with local farmers. Farmers are not losing their farm assessment. They're actually growing soybean and corn. You know, the farm just needs to be located in a town where the host entity is located. So Phillipsburg has facilities that are close to this farm, so they need to have one direct metered account. So that's the requirement for remote net metering.
How large of a lot do you need to
How many
do this?
acres? Yeah.
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 So typically, 1 megawatt of solar will consume about 5 acres of land. But also, too, I mean, just to kind of, this particular site, they're not laying solar panels directly on the land. They're going to be able to farm the land. They're going to be able to continually to cultivate the land. So it's a win-win for the farmers, and it's a win-win for Phillipsburg and remote net metering.
Yeah. So where do they actually put them if it's not on the ground?
They're up like 17 feet.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Ah, see, wow.
All right. Any other questions?
Oh, that just made me wonder, how do you grow corn on
Yeah.
that? Can't get the light.
The way that they're spaced out,
Oh,
allows the
okay.
sun, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this is pretty prevalent in Europe. They're doing a lot of agrivoltaics in Europe. They're just starting it in the U.S.
Right.
Yeah, so it's really exciting. You know, because not only is it great for the farmers, but also too for bees. It's good for the environment, and it produces 100% clean, renewable energy. That's something that's exciting. So.
And, oh, there's no opt-out. There is an opt-out clause or there's not? So you're in it for, you're in.
There's a termination clause, like if you want to get out.
Is there
So
a penalty on that?
there would be.
What would that be? Of course there is, but like generally.
Well, I mean, unless I can find somebody else to replace you, there would be a termination.
Okay.
Yeah. And we can review that.
It'll be in the contract.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's all in the agreement. So we can review that. We've had a lot of lawyers that have looked at this, and there seems to be, not a lot of big issues with what's going on. So we would be happy to share it with your legal for a review.
Do we have a copy of their sample?
No,
She's gonna send it
She's
to
gonna
us.
provide us.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
To Nancy?
Yeah, you can, she'll send it to Jack.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right.
Or Megan?
Or Megan. Thank you.
Or Megan.
Very nice
Thank you very much.
presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate having the opportunity
Anytime.
to come
Thank you
out
for
and
coming
talk
in.
with you guys, and have a nice night.
Thanks, you too.
All right. Let's see. Where are we now, Megan? We did all our presentations. Ordinance, first reading of the introduction of ordinance 488-22, amending salaries and wages ordinance. Is this just to address like some of the, what's this?
No, the purpose of this was to request, the recreation director requested that we change the title of the assistant,
Oh,
the rec assistant, to the assistant rec director. It doesn't change the salary range or the, anybody's salary.
all right.
It just changes that one title. If you see, it's highlighted in red.
Got it. All right. Anybody motion to,
So moved.
thank you.
Second?
Committeeman Lavender,
Yes.
Committeeman Ray,
Yes.
Mayor Dorsey.
Yes.
And that ordinance will be considered for final passage and adoption at a public hearing on Wednesday, May 25th.
Thank you. Next is ordinance 489-22, to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and establish a cap bank. Nancy or Jack,
Yes.
whoever's handling this.
I can address this. This is a formality, we have to do it every year. The law requires it. We are not going to, in our proposed budget, we do not exceed the municipal appropriation cap limit. And we have to establish a cap bank. Every year, money goes into the cap bank, it stays there for 3 years. We've never used it, but it's the excess between what our tax levy increases and 2%. So whatever's left over goes into the cap bank. You do have the ability to use it in future years. They roll for 3 years,
It's there.
but we never do.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's no actual cash, just
No.
so that
It's not,
everybody-
it's not
there's
real
no
money.
cash, it's just-
No,
yeah.
it is not money. It's just how high you can increase taxes.
We do this every year. We've done it every year since the cap was
Yeah.
instituted.
Right, we're required to do this. It's just a formality. We're not exceeding
All right. So,
either
can I
cap.
motion to approve ordinance 489-22.
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Lavender,
Yes.
Committeeman Ray,
Yes.
Mayor Dorsey.
Yes. Now, what's the next one? Resolution, what's this, 22-108 and 109. They're separate, I guess. That's for the introduction of the budget and the resolution of self-exam for calendar year 2022 budget, whatever that means.
So, okay, two things. One, just a little bit of information about the budget that we're introducing tonight. There is an estimated increase of 1.79% in the tax levy. However, if you take out the 0.36% that is dedicated solely to new services that you've discussed at previous meetings, if you take that out, the increase in the tax levy is 1.43%. The average assessed home has increased by almost $55,000, the assessed value, and their tax, municipal portion of the tax would go up on an average of $65.36. I can't explain this, but it ends up being a tax rate reduction of about 7%. When either Jack can explain it or when Randy comes back for the public hearing, he can explain that. But essentially, most people will see the municipal tax rate drop, right? Doesn't mean their taxes are going to go down, but the rate drops. So our tax increase is $211,975.14. That's an increase in the levy, which I said is 1.79%. And then the Next resolution is for self-exam. The Division of Local Government Services, once every 3 years, they examine the budget, and then the other 2 years, they allow fiscally sound municipalities to do their own exam. So that means, what it means basically is we don't have to wait for Trenton to get back to us to review their budget, to review our budget. We send it down to them, and then we can adopt it in a month. Whereas last year, we were delayed a really long time waiting for them to get back to us to examine it. So it's a good thing. And we just have to pass a resolution.
I can explain the tax rate, because we're an annual reassessment town, and especially in times like this where property values are skyrocketing. So the assessed value in the town is going up, so the tax rate is applied to a higher number. So that's why even though
Rate
the
goes down.
taxes collected are higher, the rate goes down because it's being applied to a higher number.
Higher number.
Right. Okay, so I guess we have a motion to move resolutions 22-108 and 22-109.
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Lavender?
Yes.
Committeeman Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Dorsey?
Yes. Next, the consent agenda. We're gonna
Oh,
pull.
Mayor Dorsey, if I
Yeah.
could just jump in. There will be a public hearing on
Oh,
the
sorry.
2022 budget on May 12th. No, May 25th. May
A month,
25th.
yeah.
Yes, May 25th.
Now for the consent agenda, I'm only going to pull out one of the consent resolutions. It's 22-120. That's authorizing the purchase of the 2 fire trucks for Sterling. I think we already did the Millington truck, correct?
You did not do an actual resolution approving it because we don't have the paperwork yet from them. You did
Okay.
authorize it,
Okay, so that's the
verbally,
process.
but yeah, it's in the process. We're still waiting for the paperwork.
Yeah, I'm just pulling that obviously because it's a substantial cost. So if there's any discussion, that's why I brought that out. It's not, that's the only reason. Obviously, I believe it's going to pass. They did a nice presentation, same as Millington, and that one's going to be up and coming soon. So that's the only reason I pulled it out. For any additional discussion, just so it doesn't get soared by like it's a resolution approving a dog fine.
Block party.
You know, a block party. So just so the public knows, we're not just flying through this. Clearly, this has been well thought out and talked about more than once. So what are you gonna do, Megan? How do you want to do this? Vote on everyone but that one?
So 22-110
10 through
through,
119.
no, 118 and 22-121.
Okay, no, 18. Okay, what about 119? That's for a generator.
That should stay in.
That stays in. So basically, it's
Oh,
10
yes.
through 19, and then 121.
Right.
Yes.
Okay,
Now I'm going to abstain from 121.
perfect. All right.
Okay.
Okay. So,
So moved.
oh, we beat it.
Second.
Committeeman Lavender?
Yes.
Committeeman Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Dorsey?
Yes. And now for a resolution, which is 22-120. That's for the authorizing the purchase of the 2 new fire apparatus by Sterling. Obviously, Brendan probably can't vote on this, but even though Vic and Guy aren't here, I know they 100% support it, so that's not even an issue. So if you only think at home, like, oh, 2 people are voting to approve this, well, obviously, Brendan can't vote because he's on the fire company. And I know for a fact, Victor and Guy are 120% behind this purchase, so it's going to be down to me and Scott to make the decision, so make a motion to approve it.
So moved.
You need to second it?
You can second
Oh.
it, because even though you're the chair, you're.
Oh, I'll second it then.
Committeeman Lavender?
Yes.
Committeeman Ray?
Abstain.
Mayor Dorsey?
Yes. All right, let's see, then we have the liaison reports. Brendan, you want to start?
No reports.
Okay. Scott?
Yeah, recreation. So first off, we had this year's egg hunt on Easter, so thank you to everyone who attended. There was over 8,000 eggs on the field, left by Peter Cottontail. And we wanted to send out a thank you to all the local businesses that participated. A special thanks to Gary Giannakis for his help coordinating all this. Choose Academy of Martial Arts, Little People's Playhouse, and also Ava's Homemade Ice Cream. They sponsored the petting zoo and the pony rides. And also a thanks to Bob DeThaler and his team from LHTV for putting together a video. You can see that on LHTV. And thank you to LMB Audio Services, Larry Basinski, for donating his time and equipment for audio for the event. members of the First Aid Squad and the Police Department for being on site, keeping everybody safe, and last but not least, volunteers from the Recreation Advisory Committee who came and helped with setup and coordination. There's photos, I think you're showing some photos there, Peter Cottontail and all that. Another update, Myersville Ball Field reopened today for daylight games only, thanks to Al Gallo and the DPW for getting those light poles down and cleaned up. Thank you. And let's talk about some upcoming events. May 30th, Memorial Day Parade is a go. It's going to start at 9:30 a.m. In the usual locations. If there are any local community groups wishing to march and/or participate, please contact the Parks and Recreation Department. Also on Memorial Day, Sterling Lake will open. They will have an open house from 1:30 to 4:30 p.m. All Long Hill residents are invited as guests for an afternoon of picnicking and swimming. The Spring Fever Photography Contest, that's going to continue through June 30th. Find that on our website. We're still looking for summer seasonal employment, so interviews are starting this week and next. Be on top of that. Summer camp registration's opened. There's flyers available on the website for grades K through 6 and the Little Explorers Pre-K Camp. Upcoming Red Cross classes, First Aid, May 12th, and CPR AED defibrillators, June 15th. Registration's opened on Community Pass. Many thanks to the Long Hill First Aid Squad for their effort that allows these classes. The Sterling Lake Dance, Long Hill students in grades 5 through 7, Friday, June 3rd, 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. at Sterling Lake. More information on the website. We need chaperones, by the way. And lastly, the Long Hill Dog Days of Summer Concert Series. The dates and bands are announced, 9 concerts this summer. Get the information on our website. That's it for recreation. Thank you.
Is the photo contest still open?
The Spring Fever Photography Contest continues through June 30th.
Excellent. So you've got some really good submissions for these fall and the winter. So please, if you like taking pictures, you see something cool, please take a picture of it and send it up to Lisa Scanlon for the contest. As you said, we use them for the town calendar too. So it'd be nice to have some locally sourced pictures from local artists.
Terrific.
All right, DPW report. Again, if you want mulch, we deliver on Fridays, Al?
Mondays and Fridays.
They deliver Mondays, Fridays. You can go down to the DPW anytime you want and pick some mulch, fill up your car, bucket, whatever you have. If you want it delivered, it's $100, how much, $100? $115 delivery fee, and they deliver on Mondays and Fridays, and it's a dump truck load. So please schedule that with DPW, call or email. They're also doing a lot of drainage work now that's warming up. They're fixing potholes, so we do have a link on the website. If you ever see a pothole or there's a problem, fill it in. I filled it in before. It's very simple. It takes about a minute and a half to fill out, if that, and it gets submitted directly to DPW. And like I said, if we don't know about a problem, we can't fix it, so please let us know. They're doing a lot of maintenance around the township property, and this will make the Shade Tree Commission happy. They're planting 16 trees next week through the Shade Tree Program, so thank you, gentlemen. And that's it for us, and then the administrator report.
Mayor, the only thing I have is that we have been told today by the contractor on Cross Hill Road that they will begin paving on Monday. So fingers crossed, we'll have good weather and it will be completed in a week.
Is that the last phase of the project?
It is,
Oh,
yes.
okay. All right, so keep us posted on that next meeting.
But is that just 50% of the project?
Oh, it's the last part
Right.
of phase 1.
Ah, okay. yeah.
Phase 2 remains to be seen if we're gonna need to do it or not.
Ah, okay, all right.
Okay.
All right, so we have discussion items. The first, we'll do the pedestrian safety on Hickory Tavern. I don't know, about 3 weeks ago, a resident sent me an email about potentially putting in sidewalk on Hickory Tavern, I guess leading up to, Magna Drive, up that way. So we contacted the town engineer, and I believe Nancy has a report or some information from the town engineer regarding that request.
So he put a study together for what it would cost. It is an area of 525 linear feet that sidewalk would have to be put in on. And it comes in at $93,500. It's mostly because there's such a huge slope there. It's right by the PSE&G right away, and there's a big slope, so most of the cost is in doing a concrete vertical curb for $26,000. The sidewalk itself is $18,400. Pavement restoration is $7,200. Tree clearing and removals, $8,700. And then the fill is $16,740 because there's so much of it. And then topsoil and seed is $4,000. So it's a total of $93,500 with a $12,000 contingency.
I mean, apart from this, apart from the resident who told us about this, do we have any documented evidence that there's actually a safety issue there? Did we talk to the chief about any calls that we've had, any accidents on that? Because it just $93,000 seems a lot of money to be paying for a pavement, and if there isn't any documented evidence of pedestrians in danger.
The resident didn't indicate that it's a safety issue. Well, she said it would improve the safety of the residents who walk there, but she said that they walk up to Magna Drive, and there's that one section, she says 50 yards, it's 525 feet, that connects to Magna Drive, and that pedestrians walk in the road there, so I guess that alone is a safety issue. So she wanted to extend from 82 Hickory Tavern Road up to reach Magna Drive.
Right. I mean, if we've got, if it's a safety issue just because people walk on the roads in this town, we've got some major safety issues all over the place. So I mean, I don't know if there's ever been any, Chief, do you offhand any accidents there or reports or?
Good evening. From memory, I don't recall. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. I could pull a report for crashes or complaints in that area, but I don't believe from memory that we have any issues there other than what was cited tonight.
Thanks, Chief.
I noticed from the picture, there's a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit. Is that true?
25, probably.
I'm seeing 15 here on the note.
Is there, that's a picture of a sign, or somebody put that in?
I see it says 15.
Oh.
Maybe a resident put it in.
It's white.
I don't think we have any 15.
There aren't any 15s in
speed limits
town.
in town.
I think that was a resident
Yeah, I
installed sign.
They put that on Amazon.
Yeah, where's that? That's on there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it looks like there's a sign on there, and somebody put underneath the yellow sign, the yellow diamond sign, about 15 miles an hour. So I don't even know if that's probably not legit.
Not
anyway.
enforceable unless
Yeah.
it's.
All right, thank you for bringing that up. I mean, I'm with Brendan on this one. It sounds like the juice is worth more than the squeeze here.
For this.
$93,000 for 500 feet, and it's not like, it's one thing if, like you said, there was a bunch of people hit by cars or a big major safety issue there. Granted, Brendan's right. Anytime you walk
Yeah.
on the street, it's a safety issue, but
Yeah.
do you have any opinion on it, Scott?
I tend not to walk where it's unsafe.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
So I guess that it's done now, for now.
Yeah.
All right. Next topic, Scott, I'll let you talk about, you and Nancy, actually. Well, Nancy will start the conversation about the baseball lighting on the field. Last time we were here, Brendan brought up, hey, can we look in to see how much it cost to put the lights on Senior Field down at the complex instead of on Myersville Field? And I know we contacted the engineer pretty quickly, and so you already got some information?
I did. He also put a report together on that. He included several pictures. He said, I mean, I'll read from his report, lighting would be problematic from an NJDEP permitting standpoint. Actually, I mean, I won't read the whole thing, but basically he said that the entire area is in a wetlands transition area, and the entire field is located within the floodway. So the only way to get a permit to install the poles in the floodway would be to find a place within the floodway to increase flood storage to maintain a zero net fill. Yeah, I know, I said I wasn't gonna read it, but I'm reading it anyway. Anyway, he said that he notes in the map, he shows the wetlands, and he says that based on the location of the field and the adjacent property, it does not appear there is sufficient room in that area to modify the grade enough to compensate for the fill in the floodway created by the new light poles. So where he says that you'd have to, find someplace basically to compensate for it, he said there's not enough room there for that. Bottom line, DEP would not approve a permit for installation of light poles because the poles would occupy volume within the floodway that is not permitted.
Fair, and so it sounds like obviously it can't get done down there.
Yeah, so based on that, there is really no way to put lights down there.
Scott?
Well, in light of that, I think, in order to get back to status quo, we should move forward with the lights on Myersville. And especially, I think, Nancy, you got some numbers back on that as well, right?
Right, so the last time, the two estimates that we had weren't exactly apples to apples because they had different foot candles or what have you. So the one company came out, NGU came back out and updated their quote to bring it more into line with what the other quote was what they were providing. So as you recall, the Musco quote was $290,000 with a $10,000 contingency. So $300,900, although you don't know that you're going to use the $10,000 contingency. And then NGU's updated quote is $280,000 plus an $8,500 for a geotechnical report, so a total of $288,500. So the difference is about $12,000 between the two.
And that doesn't have a contingency in it.
It does not have a contingency, no. And the one main difference, so the rec director would prefer to go with Musco. Number one, because we have used them before. They're a known entity. We know the work that they do. In fact, they just did the work out here at the tennis courts and the basketball court. The other is the warranty. Musco's is 25 years and NGU's is 15. And that makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
So, now that the dollar amount is closer, it's a $12,000 difference. When you add in the benefit of having an additional 10 years warranty, it makes sense to go with Musco, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus, it makes a lot of sense to use a single vendor for these lights around town.
Brendan, any comment?
No, I totally agree that we go with Musco on that. I talked to Lisa about it. And the only thing, I was in favour of lights in one of those places, and the lights down at the Little League field had some benefits if we could have done them by way of parking and also sort of bathroom facilities. And so as we go ahead with Myersville, we still have those issues of parking and bathrooms, and so I would have asked that we, especially whenever we have tournaments and that kind of thing, make sure those porta-johns are refreshed. And I think maybe we might want to think about taking out some of the basketball courts or even the playground there to add in more parking. But I mean that would be, and also the last thing. I think if we got the mosquito commission down there, or there's some pretty effective ways of controlling mosquitoes. I'm not going to get rid of all of them down there, but I think that might be something else that we could do just to try and make that place a little bit more
hospitable,
nicer. Yeah, hospitable. Yep.
So if I could just at the next meeting, I think the meeting on the 4th, we've asked the engineer to put together an idea of how many more spaces you would get if you got rid of the playground, if you got rid of the basketball court, and if you got rid of the tennis court, both individually and collectively.
Okay.
Right, so
Yeah.
I think you probably get your most bang for your buck with the tennis and basketball courts, but that remains to be seen.
Yeah. And I think it's, if I could interrupt, it's more than just number of parking spaces to add. It's ingress and egress, because the way those cars are, they're right up against the road, and to walk behind the cars, you're almost in the street.
Right. There are some DEP issues, no surprise, in putting in the, apparently they have a different calculation for car areas versus, because obviously it's impervious already with basketball and tennis courts, but car parking areas have a different calculation requirement.
If we did a geogrid or something, there's always ways around, even gravel, it's even, there's ways we can figure that out.
Well, yeah, so he's putting together a report on that as well, and I've asked Lisa to come to the next meeting so she can tell you what her recommendation is, you know, based on what his report says.
All right.
So can we introduce a resolution right now to get this done?
Yeah, we can introduce an ordinance by title only tonight, and have first reading, and then second reading would be
May 25th.
May 25th. So if that's your wish, it would be ordinance 490-22, authorizing the purchase and installation of new lights at Myersville Field and appropriating $300,900 therefore from the Open Space Trust Fund, and awarding a contract to Musco Sports Lighting LLC through the Keystone Co-op. And if that's introduced tonight, I will submit the ordinance to Megan tomorrow morning for publication.
Sounds good. Anybody want to move the motion?
So moved.
Second,
Committeeman Lavender?
yes.
Committeeman Ray?
Yes.
Mayor Dorsey?
Yes. All right, now on old to new business. New business, I do have one issue. Carol Praza, one of our, she's the liaison of the Board of Ed. She's on the Watchung, this is Watchung Hills Board of Ed, not local Board of Ed. She informed us last week, and I think there was an article in the paper last week about it as well. Due to the census, just like redistricting for Congress, due to the census, the state does a calculation, and according to the state's calculation, Long Hill was going to lose one seat on the Watchung Hill School Board. So right now, the way it's comprised, I think Brendan can correct me on this, is I think Warren might have 5 votes, we have 2, and Watchung has 2. Is that right?
Yeah, I think.
So what would happen is we'd lose a vote, Warren would gain a vote, so they'd have a supermajority of 6 votes, and basically Warren could run amok if they wanted to. So she brought it to our attention. Now, I also spoke to Rita Barone, who lives in Sterling. She is a school board attorney, and she's on the Watchung Hill School Board. And both Rita and Carol both said that the school board themselves are appealing this decision to the state, and it's more of an equity issue. Obviously, they do it based on census and population, but I think they were appealing it on an equity issue. And it sounds like the Watchung Hills Board of Ed would like it to remain the way it is, and not the way it's going to be proposed. So I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention because it is important, especially for the high school and our representation on the board, considering we still have a significant amount of students there. Brendan, you know a little bit more school boards. Is there anything else you need to add?
No, I think you covered it all. I mean, just the only thing, this becomes a real issue, obviously, if the regionalization study ever comes to fruition, and then they actually go through with it. That would be that would be an even bigger issue for us. But no, nothing more to add.
And the census is at every 10 years, so if they do it now, we'd have one less vote for 10 years. Not that it's happening today, but if it is finalized, we lose a vote for the next 10 years,
Yeah.
which is significant because, granted, our town's going to grow too, and I mean Warren and Watchung are as well, but we're still not going to have. We're going to lose a vote, which isn't probably fair, and I think that's the way the school board recognized it as well. So it is being appealed by the school board attorney from the Watchung Hill School Board. Dr. Mucci from our town is aware of it as well, so she was going to look into it as well.
Yeah.
Any other new or old business from up here? Okay. Announcements. Let's see. Oh, Saturday. It's a good fundraiser for the library. It's Shredded Day, so if you have any documents, sensitive documents that you want destroyed, please bring them to the library parking lot between 10 and 2. I know there's a cost per item you bring. It's not tremendous, but it does help fund the library. It recycles, and it gets destroyed sensitive documents. The New Jersey Tree Recovery Campaign, providing free saplings. Again, it's also Saturday, 9 to 12 at the DPW. I've done this before. Go down there. There's somebody from the DPW working. They will hand you the saplings that you need, and they're all, no, there's not? Girl Scouts. Oh, the Girl Scouts, even better. The Girl Scouts will be down there handing out the saplings. So go down there, say hi to the girls, and get as many saplings as you need. It's a great program. Any other announcements from up here? Scott? Oh.
Yeah, Boy Scout Troop 56 flower sale starts Friday night and continues through Sunday morning. They're going to have a wide range of flats hanging baskets and other surprises. It's going to be at the Valley Mall, at the far end down by the First Aid Squad, that area. So that's Friday night, this Friday night through Sunday morning.
And I have purchased flowers the last 2 years. The quality is good, and they really fill in, so, and it's worth a good cause. And
They're grown in New Jersey.
They are even better. There you go. So stop by and see the scouts and buy some flowers. Brendan, anything?
Nothing from me.
Millington Fire, got anything coming up?
No,
Oh.
nothing.
All right. All right, so, open meeting, open to the public, obviously 3 minutes. Anybody from the public have any questions, comments, issues they want to raise? Mr. Caputo, come on up.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
Good evening. John Caputo, representing Lounsbury Meadow Apartments, ownership. Just wanted to ask the board to formally reconsider a request for relief from building permit fees, at least the local portion. We had an arrangement, I believe, dating back to 2007 that said as such, and the new township building official has asked for a new action from this body in order to continue that arrangement, if that's to your liking.
And your arrangement currently is that, that you didn't, that the fees are waived?
So when yes, so it's fees related to permits for replacement of water heaters, ranges, electric work, things of that nature. We are actually intending to do a fair bit of work.
That was my next question. What's the
Yeah.
scope? I know you guys are doing a lot of renovation, which is
Yes.
great for the residents, but what actually is going on?
So our goal is to, since the building's approximately 30 years old, we are intending to do some under the hood improvements, largely to plumbing, HVAC, elevator, roof, siding, insulation. So things that will basically extend the longevity of the structure. We need to get another 30 years out of this refinance. So every little bit helps as we embark.
And if we waived the fees, what would it save you? What were you anticipating?
So the statutory rate, I believe, is around, it's a little south of 1%. So this could save us up to $20,000 on $2 million of work. Now, of course, that's some of that money does go to the state, and if we're doing elevator work, that's also state money, we believe. So that's probably the maximum liability that there would be.
And this was something that we,
Oh, okay.
something that
Some
we,
of the fees go to the state, we can't waive those.
yeah. But this was something that we did before, right?
That's my understanding. We have a letter from the, I believe the mayor at the time. This was 2007.
It's probably Guy.
Odds are. I think historically, the fees have always been waived.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was always considered a township project.
yeah, yeah. I was kind of in favor last week, and we didn't really know much about it, so I'm really happy you came tonight. But I'd certainly be in favor of doing it.
Do you want to wait to get Guy and Vic's? I'd rather wait to that Guy and Vic weigh in too. If you want to come back next week, you can, or we can relay it to him. Obviously,
Sure.
it's up to you, Mr. Caputo.
It's not imperative that it happens today.
Okay.
We can
Yeah, I'd rather
wait
wait
for
to
their
have those
opinion.
two weigh in as well. Scott, do you have anything you want to say tonight?
No, I was just going to say, do you have documentation of the previous agreement? Or do we have it?
I think it was emailed.
We should
Yeah,
have
we
it.
do.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get it
Yeah,
over
it'd
to
be
you.
great.
Sure.
We can send that, and then we can get Guy and Vic focused on that as
All
well.
right, that's good.
So-
Yeah, so if you want to come back in a couple of weeks, then we can have a better conversation about it.
So John, at least you know you can walk away tonight knowing you have one vote, you just need two more.
I'll give them two.
And
I'll
John, you
give them
did
two.
say they voted on the agreement.
I think
subject to
we're
its being finalized.
leaning that way.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
thank you. Yes, we appreciate that as well.
All right, thanks, John.
Thanks for the town's help.
Thanks, John.
Any other members of the public? Come on up.
Good evening, everyone. Frank Liberato, 589 Heritage Road, Millington. Just have one item I just wanted to see if I could get some clarification on. When I was at the street fair Sunday, which was a great event, and I want to thank everybody for that. It was a really nice event. It was well attended. I was talking to quite a few residents while I was, handing out, talking about the campaign as I'm running for council, and several residents asked me a question that I didn't have real clarity on, and it was a good point in discussions with several people about when the sewer plant was sold. Several people were under the impression that with the amount of savings that it brought by selling the plant, paying off all of the debt, and eliminating the debt service, that there was going to be some form of a credit possibly coming to the residents at some point, or be able to hold the increases at zero for a while, or the money that was allocated every year for debt service that you didn't have to allocate any further because you would, quote unquote, be debt free. They were kind of confused about it as to how that was addressed. And it was actually more than one resident had brought it up to me in conversation. So the more I thought about it, I felt it was best just to ask the governing body, because, I believe two of you might have been involved with the sale, at the time. And, just some clarification so I have a better understanding. That's all.
Well, I know the rates were frozen, 5 years, Jack?
Yes.
So the rates are frozen for 5 years, so it's another 2.5 years or 3 years, approximately?
It was, we closed in fall of 2020.
2018.
Yeah, so it's another,
Yeah, 2020.
yeah, and as to the debt, and
I could talk about that.
Go ahead.
So with the money that we saved from not having to pay debt service, I know you might have heard this during the budget discussion, we're able to buy a little over $2 million a year in capital without borrowing any money. So we use the money that we saved from paying debt service, which is $2,010,000, and we use that to buy capital equipment.
So that was like a one-time purchase?
No, it's
or
every year.
Every year.
It's
For
every
what you're
year for at
saving
least
on the
the
debt
next.
service.
Basically, for now.
Well, it's the down payments on the fire trucks, it's DPW equipment, it's rec equipment, everything that was on that capital list that we talked about. And so that is for, I don't have the exact amount, but I believe it's for at least 10 years that we'll be able to do that.
And did that have any effect on, as you're saying, holding the rate? So that was the sewer utility rate is locked in for 5 years. You're saying the fee for that is not increasing?
Yeah, the
is that
rate you're
correct?
paying for the sewer
Right.
is locked in for 5
But
years.
it wouldn't affect anything on the property tax side from
No,
having
no.
paid that debt off?
That's completely different, yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
And whatever surplus, was there a surplus when the plant was sold? Was that also put into the general fund, or?
So we ended up with, Jack, was it 1.4 million?
I think so.
So after all the
After
debt
the
was
debt
paid off, there was a $1.4 million surplus. We used part of that money on the Everly property, and we have the rest.
Oh, so that's in reserve?
Hasn't been spent yet.
And if we use Everly for recreational purposes, that money will go back.
Half of it, right.
It'll be,
Well, we
Reimbursed
only
from open
used
space.
half. We took half
Right,
from open
half,
space and
right.
half for the Everly property.
correct.
So
The
it was split.
wetlands portion, we used the open space trust fund.
Very good. All right,
And
thank
we
you very
may
much.
reimburse
You're welcome.
ourselves.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
Any other members of the public? Megan, anybody on interweb?
Dennis Sandow would like to speak, so I'm going to allow him to speak.
Okay.
Good evening.
Dennis, can you speak up?
Hello?
Got you, Dennis, go ahead.
I want to thank everybody for coming to the street fair and for the support that you gave, that the departments gave to the street fair. The first aid squad had exactly one bandaged finger incident during the day, and I consider that a safety coup. For those of you who missed it, the highlight of the street fair was meeting the two adorable Phillips children.
Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you all. See you next year.
Thanks, Dennis.
And
Thanks,
by the way,
Dennis.
thank you to DPW. I was walking the dog early Monday morning, and didn't look like a street fair even went through there. So Al, your guys, I don't know when you cleaned it up, but you wouldn't even know they were there. So great job by your crew.
That was the promotional company.
Oh, the whoever did, that's fine, but they did a nice job cleaning up after themselves, so it's like it didn't even happen. Anybody else online?
CA would like to speak, so I'm going to allow him to talk. If you could state your name and your address for the record, please.
Charles Renowitz, Heritage Road, Millington. Following up on Mr. Liberado's comment about the excess of the sewer plant sale of 1.4 million, given the fact that we, I guess, expended $477,000 of that money for the Everly property. So where exactly is the $1 million surplus now, and what are the future plans for those monies?
We don't, right now, there are no future plans right now. That I can answer, and Nancy can answer where the surplus is, if you can.
I mean, where is it? It's being invested with the rest of our surplus in, I guess, the investor savings, like if you want the physical location. It's being invested with the rest of the surplus that we have. Is that what you're asking?
Well, my question is, are there future restrictions on those monies, or what can or can we not use them for, Mr.
No.
Pigeon?
There's no restrictions.
So that's the sewer users' monies, and there's no restrictions on it, is that correct?
Town's money, but.
Well, it's the proceeds from the sale of the plant, and there's no restrictions on that, no. We were required to pay off our debt, which we did, and this is what is left.
Oh. Did you want to explain that, though? Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't hear the comments from Mr. Pigeon or
I'm
Mr.
just about to explain. Through most of its life, the sewer plant improvements were paid for through general tax revenue. There was a referendum back in the 1960s where the town decided rather than having the users pay for the plant and the improvements, it would be paid through general tax revenues. When Mr. Verderero was the mayor, that philosophy was changed, and the town's committee tried to make it so that the users paid for any improvements from that point forward. But through most of its life that the town owned it, the plant was paid for with general tax money.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Megan, anybody else on